Welcome back. You're watching The Money Show on ET. Now, we just moments earlier had a discussion about how closely should mutual fund investors be watching out for if their fund manager quits. And now here is some not so good news. 50,000 cyber attacks in India every year, and that too only the reported ones. That's certainly a scary figure. And of course, off late, we've been hearing of newer terms like Pegasus, that's snooping on your WhatsApp, and the fact that there was thousands of credit and debit card details that were up for sale on the dark web, which certainly paints a very scary picture of the compromise of our financial detail. Enter insurance in the form of something called as cyber insurance. Yes, many general insurance companies are offering this product, but what exactly is it? How much does it cost? What does it include, exclude? That's something that many of you may be unaware of. And is it something even that's meant for you? Let's try and discuss that and more with Kapil Mehta of SecureNow.in. He's joining us right now on The Money Show. Kapil, as always, it's a pleasure having you with us on ET now. What exactly is cyber insurance? I mean, if you could just talk about what is this product, when was it launched? Because it's something that's, I mean, cyber attacks itself are relatively not that old. So I'm assuming cyber insurance too is relatively new. Okay, unfortunately, that line with Kapil Mehta has just got disconnected, so we're going to try and reconnect with him. But essentially, like I said, you know, your financial data is being compromised. We have had Mr. Ritesh Bhatia, who's an expert at tackling cyber crimes, with us earlier. He had shared some very interesting tips with us. For example, when you use your credit card, dip your credit card at the POS or the point of sale. That's the machine that's present at restaurants or shopkeepers, as opposed to sliding it. So all new age credit cards will always have the gold, the gold. All credit cards have, your gold chip at the end as opposed to the magnetic strip. That's one way of prevention, better than, of course, looking for other methods to, sort of recuperate the losses. But yeah, as you can see on your screens, here are some of the importance of cyber assurance. There are so many financial transactions being conducted on digital mode, online, and most of us use computers that are not even personal, that are used by many people. All the more it's important that you protect yourself against such, against such potential financial crimes that are conducted online. I think we've been able to reconnect with Kapil Mehta. So Kapil, I was talking about cyber insurance as a product. I mean, cyber attacks itself are not that new.
Yes.
Let's first start off with why people should take these cyber attacks seriously. We had one number which said there are 50,000 cyber attacks in India. But realistically, Kapil, how often have Indians actually lost their money, faced some financial loss due to malicious activity by hackers or unauthorized transactions online?
I think, Mubina, the number of such incidents which are reported is very few compared to the number of incidents that actually take place. And if I were to think of the number of cyber attacks where people don't even know that they have been attacked, that number is just enormous. If you have an establishment and you have a sort of a server, or you're doing some business, you can just take it for granted that during the course of every single month, there are at least 5 to 10 cyber attacks where somebody is trying to penetrate your system. Many of these are unsuccessful, but the numbers are just stupendous.
Certainly painting a very scary picture. Now let's talk about the product, that's cyber insurance. How does that essentially play a role? And firstly, what exactly is cyber insurance?
So cyber insurance is a product which has come relatively new to India, which essentially covers the risk from some of these online activities. There are different kinds of risks that get covered. A very common risk is the risk of impersonation, where somebody online impersonates you to carry out some transactions. You also have many incidents of online identity theft, personification. Somebody steals your identity. I think that's the second big category. In fact, of all the crimes that were reported, about 55% fall in this category of impersonation or identity theft or sort of a fraudulent online transaction. But there's also a growing menace of people transmitting photographs about individuals, sexually harmful photographs, That's like 7 to 10% of all the cases that happen. So these are the typical issues that that take place, and the more public issues which we all know about are trolling, online reputation damage. So really very wide gamut of issues on the cyberspace.
All right. So tell me, Kapil, how much does a cyber insurance cost? And if there are any different categories that one has, like for example, life insurance, there are so many kinds, health insurance, there are so many kinds. So are there different categories as well within the cyber insurance world?
Yes, of course. I should have actually mentioned that earlier. So you have cyber insurance for companies and you have cyber insurance for individuals. Both operate a little differently. Obviously, the company ones are more elaborate. For all individuals as well as businesses, many insurers have introduced it. All the risks that I spoke about earlier can be insured through the cyber insurance. Typically, as an individual, if you buy 20 lakhs of sum assured, that will cost you about 11 or 12,000 rupees. It's expensive, but not very expensive. What the cyber insurance pays for is that if there is a litigation which comes about, or there's a loss of money because somebody stole your identity, then those losses are paid for by the insurance. It's still relatively new. So if you look at the contracts, there are lots of exclusions, ifs and buts about when something will get paid. So I think this is one of those insurances where when you buy it, you should really understand what is covered and what is not.
All right. So let's delve a little more on the individual side, since most of our viewers watching as well may be concerned for now only on their personal or on protecting themselves from such cyber crimes personally. So how much do these cost based on the categories available, and are they customized or are there standard policies currently in the market?
These are all standardized. You cannot customize them. If you want to get 20 lakhs of cover, sum assured, that will cost you about 11 or 12,000 rupees. If you want about 1 crore of cover, that will cost you maybe 25,000 rupees per year. That's what you got to pay. And they will cover you for the risks I mentioned earlier. So if there's a online fraud in a financial transaction that you're doing, or there's an impersonation of you that takes place, or there's a phishing attack, or there's a loss of reputation, or there's what is known as cyberbullying. Those are the kind of things that get covered by this insurance. So it's absolutely relevant for people who do a lot of commercial transactions online, or who are very public in terms of whether it's Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, who are out there. I think these are the two different categories of people who need to think about this individual cyber insurance.
How easy, Kapil, is it to make a claim? If I have a cyber insurance and let's say I've been subject to any of the topics that you mentioned which are included in my policy, is it easy to make a claim? I mean, what's the claim ratio, essentially what I'm trying to understand, because it's still a market that's not very penetrated.
Yeah. So you're absolutely right. The claim incidences are still low. But in all these policies, there are 2-3 conditions you must make sure you fulfill to file a claim. And the first is that you must file an FIR if you have a problem. Without that, it's not going to move. And the second is the FIR must be filed within a certain time period. That time period is generally 72 hours. So if you have a problem and you don't do anything about it for a week, then the chances of your claim getting paid are extremely low. So you've got to keep these things at the back of your mind. If you do this and you file a claim, I think the sort of claims will get paid. There still isn't too much of empirical evidence. But if I were to sort of just based on my understanding estimate a guess, I would say that we are still at a stage where 6 or 7 out of 10 claims will get paid and 3 or 4 will get refused because of policy conditions.
So what should I do to ensure? You mentioned a couple of things, but is there something when I'm signing the policy itself that I can check on to ensure that, okay, if in case there's anything, my claim will get cleared? What would you recommend viewers should watch out for in the policy agreement or in the document, basically, as important pointers, before they sign the policy?
Yes. So Mubina, when you buy this policy, you'll get a prospectus.
Yes.
Actually, the prospectus will not have all the caveats which you're looking for. So this is one of the things where you have to read the contract, and the way the insurers have laid out the contract is very useful, because every time they give a benefit, they'll also say what is not covered along with that benefit. So I think you must, before you actually buy the policy or the insurance, you must, you can download this from the insurer websites, download and read this contract and understand. So for example, you know, I mentioned to you cyber bullying is covered, but it is not covered if if a journalist has posted pictures of you online. Now I think those are some of the nuances which you just need to understand, and before you actually buy the insurance, all the information is publicly available. So that's the way it is.
You mentioned, you know, what's not included. So in your standard cyber assurance policy document, if you could explain, Kapil, what else would be excluded? You know, what will not be covered in all probability by the insurance company?
Yeah, so if there has been clear negligence on your part, you know, you gave your password out to somebody, you had a very simple password which anybody could decode, that will not get covered. If you said you had a security system, you know, you had a genuine Windows, but you didn't have a genuine Windows, or you know, similar such things, that insurance will not be covered. If you have not reported the claim in time, like I mentioned earlier, that will not be covered. If generally in the insurances available in the Indian market, if it is a fraud related to a bank, that will not be covered, because banks have their own security systems that they expect you to follow, you know, like a two-factor authentication and so on. So these are the typical exclusions which are there in the market.
Okay. All right, Kapil, thank you so much then for giving us a brief introduction in the world of cyber assurance. And as we go online more often, our privacy as well is something that has been compromised, and along with that, some of our financial details as well. Unwittingly and unknowingly, we may be giving out too much information to some hackers with malicious intent out there. So hence, if you believe that you are prone to that, what Kapil said, then ensure you buy yourself a cyber insurance. Thanks, Kapil, once again.